Hello people of the interwebs, it's me, TFR Wilderness, and it's last day of the month, and that thing that I do where I show you everything that I've bought throughout the previous month of August, because I always do this end of month bot haul thing. And obviously this month is TFnation, because August is always TFnation. It's the big UK convention. I went to TFnation, I bought a shed load of stuff. And you've already seen my TFnation haul, but now I am going to go over it again, because when I showed you my TFnation haul before, I basically showed you the majority of stuff that I bought was still in package because I hadn't actually opened it yet, because I did it on the Monday directly after the convention. But today I've had a chance to have a go with everything, so yeah, I can give you an opinion, an honest opinion on what I think of my purchases at TFnation. But also, I bought a bunch of stuff before TFnation and one item after TFnation. So when you put all that stuff together, that gives you the haul that I got this month, the month of August. Obviously, there's like 38 items here to show you, so don't be surprised if this video goes over an hour. Okay. So with that said, let's get into stuff. I've got my cheat sheet. Right, so usually what I do is at the beginning of the month, I place a bunch of orders on the first of the month. Usually, a couple of KTRTs and a few other bits that I want to buy. This month was no different. So something I ordered. I can't remember if I ordered it the previous. No, I think I ordered it on the first. Anyway, the first thing to arrive on the 2nd of August was Transformers Studio Series number 13, Megatron. Now, I decided to go for this guy because out of the Megatrons from the first two movies, Transformers movie and the Revenge of the Fallen, I have not got, well, I haven't actually got in my collection a representation of Megatron from the previous two movies. I've got Dark of the Moon Megatron, and I've got a whole bunch of Last Night Megatrons. Age of Extinction, well, obviously we had Galvatron, so I've got Galvatron. But yeah, Megatron. So when I saw the Studio Series one was coming out, I thought, actually, that looks pretty good. I think I'm going to go for it. So I went for it. He arrived on the 2nd. I got it off Amazon for about just over 30 quid, which was a pretty good price. I don't think there was many of these at TFnation, to be honest, but I got it from Amazon. It's a decent figure. The alt mode is complete and utter pap, because these movie alt modes, especially the Cybertronian modes, they're just nothing. They're just like robotic bits all scrunched together to form some kind of vehicle, and it's like, what is it? And so yeah, but obviously then you get this figure. Yeah, he's got the old the hollowness there, which some people have been whinging about, but he's an alright figure. He's an okay figure. My only gripe is that obviously he's been done in this grey plastic, rather than, why couldn't they have just painted it with sort of like a gunmetal grey, which would have made it look all the better. I mean, all the box art for it's shown as it being in a gunmetal colour, but it's just in this this bland grey silver. It's an okay figure. Looks okay in robot mode. Alt mode, bit crap. I know there's a third-party company that's done some add-on parts for this to make it look a little bit more cohesive in the alt mode, but anyway, so I got him on the 2nd, so he's the first bot that arrived this month. Right, okay, so what's next? Let's have a look. Right, yes, KTRT. So obviously I ordered 2 KTRTs at the beginning of the month. Now, little interesting fact. I ordered this next bot that I'm going to show you, and I ordered another bot. A bot that I've been after for a long time. In fact, he was the first bot that I ordered this month. He was the first bot I bought this month. It was Hello Carbot's Knight. He's one of the Sanchanzar, Three Musketeer type robot, Carbot brothers that was from season 2. I've got Pone or Pawn or Phone or whatever you want to call him. I've got him, the orange car, one-step thingy. I wanted to get Knight. Now I ordered Knight from a seller, and a day after I ordered it, I got a contact from the seller saying that he asked me to cancel the auction, and I couldn't do it at my end because eBay have changed the way things work, because they had a lot of people who was ordering stuff. It was arriving, and then they were saying, "Oh, we didn't get our item. I want my money back." And so they've changed it now. So if you're a seller and you've paid for it, you can't cancel the auction. It's the seller's responsibility to cancel the auction. Anyway, so he asked me to cancel it. I couldn't cancel it. He had to cancel it. His excuse for cancelling it was that apparently one of the legs was broken. It's supposed to be in a sealed box. How can the leg be broken? Anyway, nevertheless, he didn't have another one in stock. It was this last one in stock. I wasn't able to buy it. The price was £49.50, so it was just shy of 50 quid. And Hello Carbot's Knight, for some reason, he's an uber popular character. It's a toy that's out of production. There's not many left, swilling around in the aftermarket in Korea. And he's held his price. He's been like 50, 55 quid, 60 quid. He's a one-step changer. He's just a glorified leader class one-step changer, and I refuse to pay 50 plus quid for what is an oversized one-step changer. Out of the 3 figures from the Series 2 Carbot Brothers line, he's the best of the 3. He's got the best look. He turns into a red sort of sports car. I don't know whether it's a Ferrari or Lamborghini. It's just a made-up car, but it's a very swish-looking red sports car. And he's got the most articulation. He's upper torso, so I really wanted to get him, but this guy cancelled the auction, and I shit out on that, so I ordered something else instead. But anyway, the other KTRT bot I ordered, which arrived on the 9th, I've done a review on her, is Lucybot. Now, this is the first bot I've got from the Miniforce X line. Now, the Miniforce X line, I've got one of the figures from the original Miniforce line. Miniforce X, they've created, they've basically redone all the mechs. They've totally restyled them. I do like the aesthetic that they've got going on. And this is the first one I went for. Now, these are made by a company other than Sinnertwin. They're made by some other company, and the build quality is a bit shit on it. It separates for the combiner gimmick, but I'm not that impressed with the build quality on it, to be honest. Restricted articulation, but then again, it's a KTRT bot. They don't go in for intermediate, articulation joints. They don't go in for waist joints or bicep swivels or thigh swivels. They don't do any of that. So I got her, but she's not that great, to be honest. I mean, the knee bend is it's not at the proper knee point. It only goes to 45 degrees. It's very restricted articulation, but then again, it's a car bot. They do that. So yeah, I got her. I'm going to get the other 4 bots because I want to make the combiner. I want to make Miniforce Commander X or whatever it's called. It looks really cool. I think the engineering on it's going to be a bit crap because, like I said, this company who makes these didn't really bother to go all out with it. I think they're inexperienced in making transforming toys, and they're kind of basic. And yeah, they have to do 3 things. It has to be an alt mode, a robot mode, and a combiner mode. So yeah, I got this, and it's not that impressive, but hey ho, it's a start. Means to an end. I just want to get the combiner, and this is the first figure that I got from that line. Okay. Next, a bunch of comics. Now, went to Spartown Comics on 10th of August, and I got Lost Light number 21 with the amazing Jeff Senior cover. Got Lost Light 22 also with a Jeff Senior cover. I got Optimus Prime 22 and Unicron number 3. Now, slight problem, this is a duplicate because I've already got Lost Light number 21. I've got the who did the cover on this one? Jack Lawrence. So Jack Lawrence cover. Yeah. Now I bought this version of issue 21 back in July, back end of July. I went to see Sid at Spartown Comics, Comic Connections. I bought this off him, and he'd showed me the previous week. He'd showed me the amazing, he'd showed me that Jeff Senior cover, and I says, oh yeah, I want that. Anyway, I went there the following week, forgot all about the Jeff Senior cover, and bought the regular cover for Lost Light 21. Didn't think nothing of it. And then just before I left, I twigged. I thought, wasn't you supposed to do me the Jeff Senior cover? And I mentioned it to him, and he says, oh okay, next week I will sort the Jeff Senior cover out for you, and if you bring along your old issue 21, then I will swap it. We'll do a straight swap, and money needs to change hands. So anyway, that was the thing. The following week, first week in August? Well, actually it was the 10th, so yeah, it's more than a week. Yeah, so no, there wasn't anything on the first Friday in August. It was the second Friday. So yeah, so come on, focus. Yeah, so he got me Lost Light 21 with the Jeff Senior cover. Of course, I forgot to bring this along, didn't I? So yeah, I ended up buying a duplicate. So yeah, I've got 2 issue 21s. So this one is surplus to my requirements. So if anybody wants an issue 21 for Lost Light, let me know. I can pass it on to you. But yeah, I mean, just look at that artwork. I mean, that's just oozes Jeff Senior. I love Jeff Senior's art. Always loved his artwork from Target 2006 back in the Marvel G1 days. I loved his artwork, and he's still doing it. He's still got it. Look at that. I mean, it's not particularly detailed, his artwork. It's kind of, I don't know, coarse and scratchy, but I like that. And he uses heavy shadowing and stuff like that. And his style of doing characters is really amazing. It just looks awesome. I love his artwork. So yeah, got that, and obviously I got the others. It's been a while since I've read these. Obviously that's the Jeff Senior art cover as well for Lost Light number 22. So that's the Jeff Senior art of Megatron and Rodimus having at each other. But yeah, like I said, it's been a while since I read these. I can't really say much about them. Unicron, I mean, all these comics are winding down to this reboot that's happening in September, October. Well, to the end, which is coming in October. So got 3 more issues of Unicron to go, and 3 more issues? Well, basically all these comics have got 3 more issues left to go. So that was that I got on the 10th. So now, moving along. Yes, KTRT time again. 13th of August. I got Geomecha Beast Guardian Leo Car. Now this guy is actually pretty good, and if you watch my review, I'm quite impressed with this guy. I mean, look. He's got thigh swivels. Hasn't got bicep swivels, but he's got an interesting transformation. Obviously, he's got a lot of hollowness in the back. His head doesn't move, but he's got an interesting transformation. He does all 3 modes really well. He does the beast mode, which is a lion. He does the shape mode, which is like an elongated pentagon. I'm sure there's a proper scientific term for it, but I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But yeah, he's a really, really good toy, and one of the better KTRTs I've bought this year. And to be honest, a lot of the KTRTs I've bought this year, they're a bit meh, because they're not the bots that I wanted to buy. They're the bots that I didn't buy, that I passed over because there were other things that I wanted to buy more. So I'm just sort of picking up the stragglers, and this is one of them. But he's actually pretty good. Leo Khan, he's all right. I quite like him. So yeah, next. Right, now, the 16th, which, let's have a look at the calendar up here, 16th, was a Thursday, right, Thursday. I went out, and it was actually the day before TFnation. I went over to Forbidden Planet in Coventry Well, actually, I didn't. I was off that week. I was off the week before TFnation and the week after TFnation. So I went out. I decided, I'm going to do a Coventry toy hunt because I was desperately trying to get hold of Power of the Primes Voyager class Wave 2 Hungar at retail, but he just isn't there, and I don't think we're ever going to get him. But anyway, so I went to Smith's, I went to B&M, and then I decided, you know what, I'm going to go into Coventry Town Centre, I'm going to go to Forbidden Planet. And I managed to pick up the in Forbidden Planet for £18.99. I managed to get the Power of the Primes Wave 2 Terrorcons. So I got Blot for £18.99. He's all right. I don't like him as much as what other people do. I think Ripper Snapper's where it's at with the Terrorcon Deluxes. He's beautiful. So much paint, lovely colours. This guy's okay. Interesting transformation. I like the way the fists, sort of switch round, and then you get the claws coming out. That's pretty clever, I got to admit. But he doesn't really float my boat that much. But he's an okay figure and decent enough deluxe. Then we've got Sinnertwin. Sinnertwin's also pretty cool. He's all right. Obviously, he's got the two. Hang on. It's got the two dog heads. Got each of the heads are ball jointed, but the necks are just on pivots, and they're very close together, and they don't hinge outwards, which is, I think, a bit of a missed opportunity there. They should have had the necks so that they could hinge outwards. Robot mode's pretty sweet enough. I watched the latest bots and shots by Zach and Mike, where they basically said, "Oh, this guy's just a remold of Power of the Prime Snarl." I suppose he is. I mean, the arms are very, very similar. Yeah. But then again, most of the figures they do now are a remold of something or other. So, yeah, there's Sinnertwin. He's half decent. And then we got Cutthroat. Cutthroat. Again, £18.99. So they were there in Forbidden Planet, and I think went woof. Says, wow. I bought them because at £18.99, I was sure these guys were going to be 20 quid at TFnation, and they were. Apart from Blot, because apparently there was a shortage of Blots in the hall at TFnation, and I think it was late on the Saturday or on the Sunday. What few that there was left, I think it was In Demand Toys, was charging 35 quid for this dude. No, come on, no. Scalpers prices at a convention, get a life. Yeah. So Cutthroat, yeah. This guy has got QC issues. Yeah, the beak comes off with little or no provocation. He's a decent enough figure, though. Yeah. He's a decent enough figure. Kind of a remold of Swoop, I suppose, especially the way the wings works. Very similar to Power of the Prime Swoop. But again, need him for the combiner, so I bought him. And he's all right. So I got those guys before the convention, and I was quite happy because I knew I wouldn't have to buy them at convention. And when I was at TFnation and I saw the prices that the Power of the Primes Wave 2 Terrorcon Deluxes were going for, I thought, I done all right. I got them cheaper than that, so I was happy. Yeah, so that was all I bought before TFnation. So now we're going to get back, we're going to get on to the TFnation Redux, Hall Redux. So I'm going to go over it again. You've seen it all before. Let's watch it again. Let's see it all over again. So obviously got there on the Friday. Went to get my pass, get my wristbands and my ticket for the Stan Bush concert, and then I had to then nip off to go to a panel. And then I came back to the merch stand and got my pre-ordered merch. So, obviously, you get your TFnation program. Obviously, the theme of TFnation this year was G2, so hence the gaudy colours and all the pinks that was going on. I haven't actually read the program yet. There's a bunch of literature that I got at TFnation which I haven't read yet. I've read some of it, but not all of it. But I haven't gone through this really. But that's not really much of an issue. And obviously I pre-ordered the TFnation Decepticons Time Terror Ladybird Star book. Yes, I have read this. I love the fact they've got the little VW bug in the corner, like Ladybug. And then you look on it and it actually says Ladybug there. Now I know that's a homage to Ladybird, but there is such a thing as there's that other show that's come from these makers in France, from Zang Creations, the Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir. Now I'm wondering whether somebody is gonna cop some flack for that, because they've used the word Ladybug, and Ladybug is something else that's in the comic franchise. Anyway, I just thought I'd point that out. I have read this. There was a whole bunch of people that was involved in the creation of this. I mean, all those guys. Now, when you go through it, obviously the artwork has been done in a variety of different styles. I mean, some of them are like G1 toy style, but that's how the original Ladybird books worked, because that was all they had to work with. They hadn't seen the cartoon series, so they based all their illustrations on the toys, which was quite interesting. But there is a variety of art styles used in this book, and it's quite interesting. The story's a bit, it's a bit wild, but then again, it's supposed to be based in the G2 sort of era, so you can understand that. But this guy's the hero of the piece. What's he called? I mean, he's obviously someone that doesn't really. Was it Scram? Autobot Scram. He's like a blue car thing. G2 bot, obviously. Yeah. My only gripe on this is you've got all these artists that was involved in the creation of this book, but obviously you've got all the variety of different art styles on the various pages. It doesn't say who did what art on what page, which is kind of disappointing. I would like to have known who was responsible for that art, let's say, or that art. I'd just like to know who did what art. So that isn't there, but it's a brilliant homage to the Ladybird books. I have got one of the original Ladybird books. I did take it to TFnation with the intention of getting Mr. Collins to sign it. Mike Collins to sign it, but I forgot. I didn't bother. But yeah, I got this. So that was some of the pre-ordered merch I got. Then I got the T-shirt. Now, I got the T-shirt. Now, I'd like to complain. If anybody from TFnation is watching, I have a complaint to make. Now, this is the T-shirt that I bought at TFnation 2 weeks ago, right? I wore it at the convention. I showed it in my previous haul videos, and I put it out for wash. It's been washed once, and the TFnation logo and the stuff on the back is starting to fade and wash out already. On one wash, the design is starting to wash out. It's starting to bleach out. Now, our washing machine is one of those energy efficient ones that does 40-degree low heat washes. This is inexcusable. Now, I'm wearing my TFnation 2016 shirt, and you can see that the design is coming off it. And I've only worn this thing since I got it at TFnation 2016 probably half a dozen times, and it's probably been washed about 3 or 4 times in that period. It's most of the time it's been like sat in my drawer, in my chest of drawers in my room. Yeah. Bit disappointed that the durability of these t-shirts is suspect. It's a great t-shirt, don't get me wrong. It's got all the, it's a typical tour t-shirt with all the stuff on the back. I didn't buy any of the Stan Bush concert t-shirts, but after my experience with this particular t-shirt, I'm a bit worried to any of the t-shirts that they've had done for TFnation. The longevity and durability of the printed designs on the t-shirts, bit suspect. But anyway, I just thought I'd point that out to people. Bit disappointing, to be honest. Well, anyway, I got that, and also when I was getting my merch, I got one of the pink tote bags. Now, obviously, it's got the badges on there. I've got them in the forge on the Sunday, but yeah, I got the pink tote bag. So I thought, yeah, why not? It came with my pre-ordered merch, so I got that. 25 minutes. Lovely. Right, okay. So that's snap. Now we get on to the Saturday and the dealer hall. I queued up with everyone else. I wasn't quite at the front. I was kind of near the front. And I had a game plan in mind what I was going to do. I was going to march straight over to Toy Fu, and there was a couple of figures on Toy Fu that I wanted to buy. But also, I wanted to keep my eye on the prices of some of the Power of the Primes figures on the in-demand store, most notably Hungar. But then there, like I said, there was that thing going on with the price fixing that I noticed, because on the Friday I'd seen that they had it at 35 quid, then they reduced it to 30 quid, and then on Saturday morning it was back up to 35 quid, and everyone else in the hall, every other dealer that had Power of the Primes Wave 2 Voyager class Hungar on their store was selling it for 35 quid. Price fixing. Love it. Anyway, so needless to say, I didn't buy a Hungar at TFnation, and I still need one. I've got all the deluxes. I just need the Voyager to create the thing, and I'm patiently waiting for it to come out at retail in the UK. And I bet you any money we ain't gonna get it. It's gonna be one of those figures that misses the UK market completely, and then you'll have to buy it online for scalpers prices like everybody else for 35-40 quid. Anyway, rant over. Yeah, so I went into the hall, did a quick scoot next to In Demand, had a quick look at the prices and thought, no, not bothering with that, and then went over to Toy Fu. Now, Mr. Toy Fu, I can't remember his name. Couple of things with Toy Fu this year. I wanted to get the fanzine because I'd missed out on it the previous 2 years, and he had done an unboxing video with Few Adams a couple of months ago where he got a massive great box of stuff from Japan, and he unboxed it along with Few Adams. And there's a couple of items in that video which I thought, oh yes, I want one of those. And I was, crossing my fingers that he had them on the store. And on the Friday when I looked around, yes, they were on the store. So I thought, right, okay, I'm going to make a play on these. And they were G1 Sixshot and G1 Roadbuster. Now I had a price in my head how much I wanted to pay for these guys. I wanted to pay 60 quid for Sixshot and 40 quid for Roadbuster. So I got in there and I was looking around at the figures, and they had some prices on them come the Saturday morning. Or no, I asked the prices on them. I said, how much for the Sixshot? And he said 70 quid. And I thought, how much is the Roadbuster? And he said the Roadbuster's 40 quid. So then I thought, well, okay, 70 quid for Sixshot, 40 quid for Roadbuster. That's only 10 quid more than what I expected to pay for them. Okay, I'll go for it. So I got the Sixshot. So this is the Sixshot that come all the way from Japan. This is the Takara one that was on the Toy Fu stall. I've got him in dog mode, panther mode, or whatever mode it is. Wanted to get this because I've got the Titans Return one. I wanted to get it as a comparison to go with my Titans Return Sixshot. And of course, when the Titans Return Sixshot came out, everyone else got the same idea, and the price of G1 Sixshots went through the roof. You would be lucky to get one for like, sort of 80, 90 quid for a used one. Now, 70 quid I paid for this. It is a Japanese one. It is complete. It's got all its bits. It's got the guns. It's got all the pieces. He's complete. A little bit yellowed, but all the joints are tight. The decals are good. Yeah, it's worth paying 70 quid for this. Very, nice tight joints. Yeah, great figure. Fantastic. Awesome. Glad I got him. And, finally, I've been after one of these for a while. But yeah, got it from Toy Fu. Interesting story. After I bought this from Toy Fu, as I wandered around the dealer hall, which was heaving, by the way. I mean, I've never ever seen the TFnation hall as packed as it was on the Saturday morning come 9 o'clock or 9:30 or whatever time the doors open. It was ridiculous. But there was supposedly 1,300 people at the convention that weekend, so there was obviously more people there than there would have been normally. But it was heaving. You could not move. you couldn't walk down the aisles because it was packed with people. When you got to the stall, there was queues of people like 2 or 3 deep trying to pay for stuff at Kapow, for instance, and I just had to take what I wanted off the shelf and just patiently wait until a space was available to pay for it. It was bedlam. It was absolutely ram-packed with people. But yeah, so I went over to Toy Foo, got me a Sixshot, very happy with him. And of course, I got the Roadbuster as well. 40 quid I paid for this. It's a loose Roadbuster. It's come from Japan. Roadbuster's one of those figures that was never released in the UK, so he's kind of hard to fetch over here. Kind of hard to get. He isn't complete. He is missing a bunch of accessories, but he does have all the little yellow wheel covers for his robot mode. He's got his missile launcher, that's missing a missile, and he's got a rifle. There is a load of other pieces that he's supposed to come with, but they are missing. But for 40 quid for a loose Roadbuster, he transforms into the vehicle mode well enough. Yeah, I can do that. G1 Wreckers, baby. That's why I want this guy. I'm trying to make a lineup of the G1 Wreckers from Target 2006. There's only 6 bots. You know, there's Twin Twist and Topspin. Got those. There's a Whirl. I've got him. Then you've got Roadbuster, Impactor, and Rack and Ruin. There is no toy of G1 Rack and Ruin. One of the third-party companies did a version of it. It wasn't very good, to be honest. It didn't look like Rack and Ruin. I'm hoping somebody somewhere will do a Rack and Ruin. Rack and Ruin didn't actually transform in the G1 comic. Neither did Impactor, for that matter. Impactor never transformed, but Roadbuster did. He's pretty cool. Again, this is based on a Takatoku Toys design. This is what one's this supposed to be? I can't remember. It's not Gazette. That's the helicopter. Yeah. So wanted to get hold of one of these. Got it for 40 quid. Well happy. There was two other of these in the haul. In Demand had one for 150 quid, but it was loose but complete with all its bits. And then Beyond Technologies had a box one for 250 quid. So I think there was 3 of these in Dealer's Hall, and I got the loose one on the cheap. So yeah, I got him. And while I was there, I actually got one of the fanzines, the little book of Master Force. Again, I haven't had a chance to read it, but looking through it, there's plenty of stuff in there that's going to make interesting reading. And I got me a little G1 Beachcomber, because I like Beachcomber. I've got the Titans Return one. I've got a third-party one. I'm kind of thinking I'd like to collect Beachcomber as a mould. There's a couple of other sort of hard-to-get ones that I need to get, but yeah, he's really neat. So I've been after one of him for a while. And that was what I bought at Toy Foo. Then I went over the very crowded aisle to Kapow, and I picked up a figure, and I stood in line and waited patiently to pick up this guy. This is Fansproject's Warbot WB009 Severo core. Now it's based on their Warbot core mold, and they've basically repainted it in Grimlock colours, and they're doing it as a homage to War Within Grimlock. It works. I think it really works. It's got like the little sort of exhaust pipe things sticking out of everywhere. I like Fansproject stuff. I've got a lot of the Function X stuff and a few other bits and pieces. I've got the Retro Future Glacier Lord combiner. I've got that. So yeah, I like Fansproject stuff, and Fansproject have been a bit up and down of late. They went quiet for a while, and then all of a sudden they started releasing a bunch of repaints, and this is one of them, convention exclusive. Kapow had loads of these, so no, it was a no-brainer. I wanted to get this because I like Grimlock, and it's just another Grimlock for the haul. Yeah, it's all right. Obviously, being a core bot, it's got the little Breastmaster Solaron type thing that plugs in. He's all right. He's decent enough. You know, he's got a decent amount of articulation, nice moulding. a nice homage to Grimlock, and I picked him up, and he's a bit of all right. Then I went over to Space Bridge because I was having bought Roadbuster, Beachcomber, and Sixshot. I wanted to get some more G1 figures, and there was one G1 figure in particular that I really wanted to get hold of, and that is Trailbreaker. Now, at previous conventions I've been looking for him, but unfortunately couldn't find a complete one. I can remember I saw one last year, but bits were missing. So I was looking for a decent one, and you go over to a Space Bridge and they have those glass cases with all the G1 figures in the case, and there was a Trailbreaker. So I said, how much is that? And he said 30 quid, and I thought that will do nicely. So I got me a G1 Trailbreaker finally. Now he is kind of loose. The decals are a bit tatty. Chrome wear's not too bad, but I've got a means of fixing that, so that's not a problem. Yeah, it's G1 Trailbreaker, baby. Yeah, I've been after this guy for a while. Finally got one. He's got all his bits. The missile launchers don't really hold that well, so you stick something in his fist and it falls out. But hey ho, this is toys over like 30 years old. What do you expect? Yeah, he's all right. He's great, and I paid 30 quid for him, which was a decent enough price given his condition. So I was plenty happy to get that from Space Bridge. Now, next, now before I went in to TFnation, I was coming up to my bot 900. Now I knew this was coming. I do this thing whereby every bot that I buy gets a number, and every time I get to what I refer to as a centenary bot, that bot takes additional significance in my collection. And I've got a bunch of my centenary bots up here. I mean, here's which one's this one? Is it bot 500 G1 Weird Wolf? I picked up at the first TFnation, the 2016 one. Yeah, got him. And I've got bot 700 up there, bot 300. There's a couple more in the other room, and bot 100 is Terror Dive. Hunt for Decepticons Terror Dive. He's upon my shelf there. What it is, I mean, what my bot number means is basically every time I buy a bot, it has a serial number from and it's bots in order of purchase. Right, it's bots in order and purchase. So I started out with my my Beast Wars Fusors Silverbot, who I bought in 2007. So I had him already. So I started from number 2 with the Age of Extinction Construct Bot Dinobots, and I just went on from there. Now over the years, I have a number of bots from my collection have been sold, departed, given away. So 12 bots have been taken away from my collection. So the number that I get to, you subtract 12 from it, and then you get the true number of how many bots I've got in my collection. And also I've still got the remains of the Tom Henson bot lot up in the loft, some 70 odd bots that I have. When I bought the Tom Henson bot lot, that was over 200 bots, but I kept that as a separate thing. I did not add it to my collection until later on, when I decided, okay, I want to keep this bot and that bot, and I added a bunch of them to my collection just before TFnation 2016, and that was that. But I've still got like 70 odd Tom Henson bot lots in the bot. They're mostly movie series or Unicron trilogy bots, so they're not really bots that are particularly desirable or worth a whole lot. And I'm tempted to donate them to Toy Foo, because I can't be bothered to go through the palaver of selling them off separately, because that's just too much like hard work. So I will probably maybe thinking about it. I'm thinking about it. I haven't actually got round to it, but they're just sitting up there doing nothing. Toy Foo will be able to make some money out of it and raise some money for charities. That's as good a cause as any, I suppose. But I'm thinking about doing that. Anyway, needless to say, going into TFnation this year, I knew that I was approaching bot 900. I was within sort of like 7 or 8 bots of bot 900. So I knew it was going to happen. I just wasn't sure which one it was going to be. Now, the last couple of times I've fudged the results. I've deliberately manipulated my bot buying so that a particular bot arrived and that became my Centenary bot. This is dodgy. This is wrong. I shouldn't be doing this, but I have done it on a couple of occasions and regretted it. This time I just wanted to go with the flow, just say I'm just going to buy bots, buy, and when I do my list keeping at the end of it, I will figure out who's my bot 900. So, needless to say, the next bot that I bought is my bot 900. And it's a good one. Masterpiece Sunstreaker. Oh, yes. Now, I wanted one of these guys anyway. Kind of pricey for a Sui car bot, but that's just the way Takara's going these days. Let's milk the collectors for all they're worth. Yes, that's what Takara's all about now. I mean, look at the price of Dinobot. I mean, there was some Dinobots at TFnation, but I think In Demand had 4 of them, but they were asking, what was it, 250 quid for them? I thought that thing retailed at 140 quid. Yeah. Not so sure about that myself, but you know, some people got lucky at TFnation and bought them at whatever price they were going at, so good luck to them, I say. But yeah, I was after this guy. Kapow had some on their store for 80 quid, which was near enough. So I bought him, and it wasn't until I went back into the room later on and totted up the bots, and I realised, yeah, this guy's my bot 900. Yeah, he's very nice. I have played with him a couple of times. I have transformed him. Obviously, he comes in car mode. Quite complex, as you know, Masterpiece and third-party bots are these days. Very good, quite intuitive transformation. I mean, you can figure out the legs pretty easily. It's a little bit more involved with the torso and the backpack. There's a lot of false, you know, like that bit's false. These bits are false. You know, there's a lot of false bits on this, you know, to make it look good in bot mode and car mode. I have transformed it in both directions. It's a lot fiddlier to go from robot to car than it is car to robot, because when you go in car to robot, you're basically unfolding it and you know, swinging everything round, and there's a robot. When you go in the other way, you have to compress everything back in. Like the arms do something pretty clever when they compress into the back of the car mode. The backpack's, you know, pretty complex. There's a lot going on there. But yeah, I really like this thing. I like G1 Sunstreaker anyway. He's one of those characters that I like, especially back from G1 days, even where he didn't actually do a lot in the G1 comics. I just liked him. There was just something about him I liked. And when I saw that there was a Masterpiece one coming out, I said, yeah, I want to get one. And I got one. And he's my bot 900. He's a Centenary bot. So he takes on extra, you know, significance in my collection. So when I get to 900 subs, I'll do a review on this guy. Like that's ever going to happen anytime soon. And though I seem to be collecting subs at the moment at a steady pace, so yeah, I might get to 400 subscribers before too long. But anyway, really enjoyed this guy. He's a brilliant bot, and quite possibly one of the best bots I got at the convention. Right, so yeah, so we got that. Now, then I went to, and I got that from Kapow for like 80 quid, like I said. Then I went to the Nottingham Robot Company, and I was after a couple of Studio Series Season 2 bots. The prices varied from dealer to dealer, but you know, I was a bit reluctant to pay much over 20 quid, but the best price I saw was at Nottingham Robot Company, because they were doing the figures for like 22 quid. And I got me a Jazz. I got me a Studio Series Jazz. Now, people have been complaining this guy's small. Yes, he is small. In deluxe mode, he's not much bigger than a Scout class figure, and his car mode, it's like the size of a Matchbox car. But I think the reason for that is this guy is, a lot of the Studio Series bots are supposed to be realistically scaled to one another, and the Pontiac Solstice, which this car is based upon, is only like a small sports car. It's like the same size as an Audi TT, I suppose, maybe slightly smaller than an Audi TT. So it's only a small car. So when you put it next to a big car, then you know it's obvious that you know, when you get, you know, there's only so much mass in this thing which can turn into a robot. Now, I wanted this guy. I'd had the original movie Jazz, and that's a piece of crap. I've got the Human Alliance one, which is amazing. This guy, I wanted him because he looked kind of cool. Mine's got some QC issues. You could you can probably see there's a paint blemish, like a blister on the bonnet there. And then you look at the sides, and these panels just do not squeeze up. Look, it's ridiculous. It just will not close up together. I mean, they've got massive panel gaps on it. So I'm very disappointed in this guy. I would say out of all the things I bought TFnation, this is by far the most disappointing. The robot mode's all right, but the car mode, yeah, very disappointing. QC issues. Yeah, I bought it. I got it. It is what it is. And at the same time, from the same store, I bought Studio Series Lockdown. Now, this guy is a lot better. I mean, just look at that molded detail on that. He's absolutely smothered in it. And very solid figure. I mean, nothing moves. He is rock solid. Transforms into car mode. Nice close panel gaps. Amazing. Love this thing. It's brilliant. Yes, you could do better. You can get the Peru kill, which is probably the definitive version of Age of Extinction Lockdown. I saw a few people going around with it. I mean, Kapow had a couple of them. A few people bought it, where, you know, basically you turn it inside out and it's like a perfect Lamborghini Aventador or whatever it was, and then it turns into this amazing, you know, sort of like gunmetal bot, absolutely covered in molded detail. Yeah, but this, for a little deluxe figure, it works really well, and massive improvement over the Age of Extinction Deluxe figure. And when they did an improvement of that with the hot rod mold for the last night, I mean, that was a much improved version of the mold, but this beats it even again. He's a decent sized deluxe, pretty cool transformation. Love it, brilliant, absolutely fantastic. Massive chalk and cheese between Jazz and this guy, quite simply. So yeah, I got those guys from the Nottingham Robot Company. Then I went over to see my mate Sid, Mr. Sidney Beckett, at Comic Connection stall, aka See No Kibble, and had a look on his stall at loose stuff, and got me another Roadbuster. So I've got the G1 Roadbuster now. I've got the Dark of the Moon Roadbuster. I wanted this guy because I've got the KO of the Deluxe Leadfoot, Takara Leadfoot. I've got that, and I've got I had one and then I sold it, and then I got it again. I got the top spin. A lot of grey plastic on this guy. I mean, this guy seriously needs some dry brushing or paint apps to bring out all this this grey molded detail on him. The only disappointment with this guy is that in car mode he's like just a plain NASCAR. He hasn't got that weaponized mode that the others have got, but there is a third-party company that's fixing that. They're doing some deluxe versions with the weaponized mode, which is interesting, looks cool. Now, the Human Alliance version of this guy is supposed to be something special, but I might be looking to get that at some point. But I got him. He was 12 quid, and he's got his little mechy-techy weapon, so wanted him. And then I was looking on the back of Sid's store, and I saw that he had the Masterpiece cassettes, which I haven't got. So we've got Buzzsaw and Frenzy, or as I like to call him, Rumble, because Rumble to me is always blue. Yeah, they're decent enough. Obviously, I've got the other versions of these molds. You've got to feel it for poor old Buzzsaw, though, because Laserbeak just steals the show every time, and poor old just gets left in the shadows. So you've got to have some love for Buzzsaw, because, you know, he's always playing second fiddle to Laserbeak. I mean, come on. Anyway, so I got those guys. I think they're about 25 quid. Apparently they were pre-owned, they were used. There's some loose joints on Frenzy here, but they're all right, and I needed them to go with Masterpiece Soundwave. It's down there somewhere. So yeah, so I decided to get hold of those. And yeah, so did that. And moving on. Right. So then obviously I was happy with what I bought, and then I went back to the bar, went back to the room and updated my lists and did some few other things. And then I came back in the afternoon. I still had a considerable amount of my money left, and decided to have another browse around in the afternoon, early afternoon, to see what else was available. So then I went over to the Kapow store, and a bot that I've been sort of umming and ahhing about getting for quite a time now, Mastermind Creations Tyrantron. Yes, now I've got him in his Tyrantronus version with the Megatron Origins minor version. Yeah, Mastermind Creations, baby. Solid, IDW accurate, fairly simple and solid transformations. Took me a little to figure it out, because obviously I didn't realise that you know, the well, how do they work? You know, these shoulder joints unplugged and then slid up and down. But once I got it figured out, it was all right. It comes with all the pieces, so you can convert into Lost Light or Megatron Origins version, which is great. It's a very solid bot. I mean, nothing moves. Nothing moves. Looks amazing. The price of this guy, because he's kind of big and kind of heavy, he was going for over 100 quid just about everywhere I looked. Kapow was doing it for 95 quid, so I thought, well, that's near enough, so I bought it. And if only I'd waited till the Sunday morning, because they dropped the price on the few that they had left to 90 quid. But hey ho, we can't all be there when the discounts are about. But yeah, so I got him, so I was quite happy to get him. And then while I was on the Kapow store, I was just looking down, seeing what they had, and I noticed something else. Oh yeah, Magic Square Fire Extinguisher, aka Little Legends Inferno. Love this thing. It is absolutely amazing. I mean, it's just it's a little G1 Inferno, Legend scale, with all the articulation you could ever want, and a pretty decent transformation. Fantastic. Love it. Magic Square seems to be making a name for themselves. They've like come out of nowhere this year, or yeah, well, this year. I mean, yeah, they've got that is it M01 or MB01 sort of Optimus Prime that they're doing, that Masterpiece Optimus Prime, but it isn't actually out yet. But they're doing these Legends class, and they've done Grapple and Inferno, and now they're doing Ultra Magnus. They're doing Sea Spray. They're doing Beachcomber. They're doing Huffer, and I'm definitely up for the Huffer and the Ultra Magnus versions. So yeah, loving this thing. Kind of reminds me of you know, Unique Toys Palm Collection. The design aesthetic and plastic quality on it, very, very similar. But absolutely love this thing, adore it. It's brilliant, fantastic. And it's 25 quid, which is great, because when you buy them online, you'll be lucky to get one for 35 quid. So Kapow did a good one there. They had a bunch of them they had some on the Saturday, and they had even more on the Sunday. So if you didn't pick one of these up, why not? Because they're brilliant. And that was pretty much it until, you know, sitting around in the bar on the Saturday evening. Then Dorian comes over and slaps one of these in my hand. Yeah, so I got the latest issue of the Refined Robot Co, not company, it's Co, as in cooperative, I suppose. Yeah, there's not much text in here. It's largely about the pictures. I mean, yeah, Mr. Wasp Shot has got an eye for gore. He loves his G2 gaudy colours, hence that picture. And then in the back, they've got this sort of like a program for a phony convention that never happened, and they've done these digibash of all these sort of Combiner Wars and Power of the Primes characters and different characters, which is quite cool. Love it. Love these things. I got one after the event last year when Dorian posted me one, but I actually got one at the convention this year, so I'm much appreciated of that. Fantastic little little fanzine. Love it, and thank you, Dorian, for sorting me out one of those. So that was what I got on the Saturday. We're at 56 minutes, by the way, so this is going to be the longest video I've ever done. So if you're still sitting with me through this video, good luck to you. So Sunday. Yes, Sunday. Now, on Saturday when I've been walking around, I'd sort of, a couple of targets I'd noticed, because I'd spent my money on the Saturday, all the 500 quid I'd allotted myself on the Saturday, because I took £1 to TFnation with a full intention of spending it. So I spent all 500 quid, just over 500 quid on the Saturday. So yeah, and then there was a couple of things I spied. Yeah, I'm going to get one of those. So on the Sunday morning, I went straight over to my mate James at Maximilov Toys, and I got me Carnifex. Been after this guy for a while now. Yeah, he's big, he's expensive, he's complex, but you know, IDW Overlord, are you kidding me? It's the big evil bastard. This guy is a complete a nut job from, you know, IDW. He's so evil, and you know, Last Stand of the Wreckers, the Lost Light, Dying of the Light, you know, and all that. And then he finally meets his end. Well, he doesn't actually get killed, but in Sins of the Wreckers, spoilers if you haven't read Sins of the no, not Sins of the Wreckers, Requiem of the Wreckers. If you haven't read Requiem of the Wreckers, Overlord gets his comeuppance, so to speak. He doesn't actually die, but the way that they did the remains of the Wreckers deal with him is quite ingenious, and it has something to do with the fact that he's a duocon. If that makes any sense to you, but I'm not going to say any more than that. You've got to read it to understand it. But yeah, so I've been after this guy for a while. The price he was going for elsewhere, you know, 170, 180 quid. I wanted to get it, and the times when I had the money and the willpower to buy this guy, he wasn't available. And then when I wasn't in the frame of mind to buy him, and I didn't have the money, he was everywhere. So yeah, it was difficult to get hold of one. James had one on the Saturday for 155 quid, and I thought, yeah, that's a good price. But then I didn't buy it, and then in the bar on the Saturday night, I saw somebody walking around with one of these, and I thought, oh god, they've sold it. You know, the only one in the hall, and James has sold it. But come Sunday morning, James had another one. Apparently he'd bought them, he was selling them on behalf of somebody else, so he had a couple of them, but he couldn't do it at his usual discount that he does me. But I was still happy to pay 155 quid, because, you know, in my opinion, I've saved about about 20-25 quid on this guy. So yeah, I finally got him. Now, shoulders. I'd heard rumours that the shoulders were a bit awkward on this guy, and I thought, you know what, I'm okay. You know, I've transformed enough figures, I'll be able to sort it out. No bloody way. These shoulders are an absolute nightmare. I could not figure them out when I was going into the plane mode. They're supposed to slide back and clip into, you know, the back of the figure. No way. I just could not get them to go. They're on some sort of ridiculous gimbal joint. There's like a multiple faceted, you know, pivoting frame, and they just do not work. They just do not go. And then when I finally relented and looked at the instructions, they just weren't any help whatsoever. So I sort of got it into the plane mode and the tank mode. I haven't gone for the base mode, because the base mode, you don't get instructions for it. It's on the back of the box, and it's kind of like a fan mode. But yeah, I've still got it. I'm glad I got it. I'm a bit annoyed about the shoulders. So because of that, he's sort of gone down in my estimation a little bit. And he's definitely by far the most complicated Mastermind Creations figure I own. He's ridiculous. The legs aren't too bad, but the upper torso is horrendous the way it works. There's just so much going on with this guy. But yeah, I finally got one at a reasonable price, so I'm quite satisfied with that. So I've got the big bastard, the big baddie. I've got him finally. So yeah, we're over an hour. Hey, yeah. Right. So speaking of bastards, unrustable bastards. Yeah. So in the bar on Saturday night, I'd seen that Natalie All in the Blur had bought one of the unrustables from Sid. The Kickstarter edition, she paid 75 quid for it, and I thought 75 quid, that's near enough. You know, I've been umming and ahhing about getting these guys. So after I bought Carnifex, I marched straight over to the Comic Connection store and said to Sid, sell me an unrustable, and he did. So I've got me an unrustable. Now, didn't get any instructions in the box. And I've spoken to Sid since then, because obviously he's my comic guy. So the following Friday, I saw him at the Spartan Comics Collections afternoon in the pub uptown, and I had a word with him. And apparently there's supposed to be a slip of paper inside the pack, the Kickstarter pack, with a QTR code on it that you scan, and then it takes you to a YouTube video which shows you the transformation sequence. That wasn't in my box. It wasn't in Natalie's box either. So anybody who bought one at TFnation, you might not have got that slip of paper in it. Now, another thing about this guy, the unrustables are a bunch of futuristic sort of criminal bikers who, they transform into these mech suits and do crimes, I suppose. But they've got rival gangs that they're fighting against, and the corrupt authorities. Speaking with Sid, there's a comic on the way. I was waiting to see the comic before I bought into these guys, but when I saw the price that he was doing them at TFnation, I just couldn't resist. It's rocking the color orange, and I like orange. Yeah, decent looking figure. I was a bit confused as to what character I'd actually got, because obviously it's the same figure, but you just change a few pieces over and you get a different character. And apparently I've got this configured as Burley, which is the boss of the Unrustables. You get parts in the basic Kickstarter pack for Iride, however you pronounce it, Aride, Iride. He's the alternative setup you can do. And Sid was selling, he was giving away an extra set of headpieces so that you could convert it to another character. And apparently the extra headpieces convert to Hazer. So I'm just telling you now, this is Burley with the skull mask and the chest plates done in that configuration. This is Burley. Iride is the other head sculpt. There's two versions of the head sculpt, the face plate for each character. But yeah, so when I told Sid, I said to Sid, how come there's no information in the pack to say what characters you've got? And he says, oh, that's a very good question. Thanks for pointing that out. So hopefully he'll put something up on the website which will explain. I mean, there's stuff on the website anyway which tells you which of the characters, but I got me an Unrustable, and he's really good. It's wickedly articulated. I mean, it wants for nothing articulation-wise. Nice mechanical design. Transforms pretty cool. Yeah, so I got hold of one of those finally. And I doubt if I'll be buying any more of these to make the whole gang, because obviously you need to buy like 5 of these to make the gang. So it's, buy the same figure 5 times over and just slightly reconfigure it slightly for a different character. Yeah, that's sort of like the sting in the tail with these guys. But there are other bike gangs coming out. Sid was apparently supposed to have had some prototypes at TFnation, but he got the packages from abroad, but they've been waylaid in customs, so he didn't get them in time. So yeah, he didn't quite have all the prototypes that he wanted to show at TFnation, but there's more on the way. And there's a comic in the works as well, so eventually, hopefully, we'll be able to get hold of a comic and we'll know a bit more about these guys. And but I've bought into the line, so yeah, that's a thing. Right then, I was pretty flush for what I got, and then it was like, you know, what else can I get? What figures do I want? So I was wandering around, went over to Beyond Technologies. That guy he was sort of opposite to on the corner. Well, it wasn't on the corner. He was the next one in. In fact, he was facing the Space Bridge. He was one of those guys facing the Space Bridge. He had a bunch of, you know, sort of like G1, G2 figures on his stall. I had a look around and I noticed he had something. G1 Thundercracker. Yeah, I've decided that Thundercracker is my seeker of choice. I like Thundercracker from the stuff that he's been doing in the IDW comics. I really like him from that. And yeah, so there we go. I got me a G1 Thundercracker. And how much did I pay for it? I haven't got the prices in front of me, but he's in decent price. He's got all his bits. The decals aren't too bad. Joints aren't particularly loose. So yeah, he's complete. So I got him for a decent price. Then I wandered round to the I went around to Toy Fu again. And again, looking on their stall, saying, well, what else have they got that I want? And I saw something and says, yeah, I want one of those. Animated Ultra Magnus. But again, I like Ultra Magnus. He's one of my favourite characters. I'm doing that restoration on G1 Ultra Magnus, so that should give you a clue. I've got a bunch of Ultra Magnuses in the case over here. I quite like, you know, Ultra Magnus from the IDW, not necessarily the Minimus Ambus aspect, but you know, the duly appointed enforcer of the Tyrantron, that sort of Ultra Magnus I quite like. And RID Ultra Magnus, I think he's amazing. And you've got the Siege Ultra Magnus coming, which is kind of like a homage to both the G1 Ultra Magnus and the RID Ultra Magnus, and it's absolutely blathered in molded detail, and it totally floats my boat in all manner of different ways. But yeah, this is one of the guys I wanted to get hold of. He's big, he's bulky, he's very, very chunky, he's large. I think he's a lot like this guy, a lot like, you know, Universe Onslaught. He's very, very similar the way he's built and the build quality. Very, very similar. And now I put some batteries in him, got the
Ultra Magnus here.
got the sound effects to work.
Don't be a hero, Optimus. We must return the Allspark to Cybertron. Ultra Magnus here.
And of course he's got the hang on. There we go. It makes transformation noises as well. So yeah, he's big, he's bulky. It's got the Nama. Yeah, so I bought him. I think 45 quid I paid for this guy, but you know, it's a lot of robot for 45 quid. Very, very big, very chunky, quite involved transformation, especially the amount of joints that's on his shoulders and his arms to, you know, sort of fold his arms into the front of the cab mode. I mean, there's very limited clearances there, and it's quite a mare to sort of compress it all together. But he's a big mama jammer of a figure, so I got hold of him. And then I went over to the Space Bridge. I bought a couple of things, a couple of figures that I've been after. One of them was little Universe Beachcomber. Picked up the G1, so I decided to get the Universe update. I'm kind of toying with the idea of collecting Beachcomber as a mold collecting thing. I've got a couple of the molds already. There's a few others that I need to get that are kind of hard to find. But yeah, so Beachcomber, got another Beachcomber. And in the bar Saturday afternoon, I'd been in sort of a creche with Gary Churm and Chris Sixshot and his kids, and there was a bunch of bots on the table, and one of the bots on the table was a Reveal the Shield G2 Optimus, Laser Optimus Prime, and I was having a fiddle with it, and I thought it belonged to Chris Sixshot's kids, but it didn't. It belonged to Gary Churm apparently. But I had a quick go of it, and I thought, you know what, I've kind of had an interest in this mold. I'd quite like to get one. So when I was at the Space Bridge, got myself a RTS, Laser Optimus Prime. He's a decent figure. Slightly, significantly different for an Optimus Prime. Kind of like it. It's got an interesting transformation, a decent amount of joints. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it. I don't normally buy Optimus Primes, but I made an exception this time for this guy. He's come with his sword, so he's complete. Yeah, he's pretty cool. Quite enjoying him. He's a pretty decent figure. And then obviously I did that thing that I said I was going to do in my sort of pre-convention video, that I wanted to go to the Forge. So on the Sunday afternoon I went to the Forge and bought a load of stuff. There was this guy. Well, anyway, so I bought the Daily Straxus books from him. Now, I've actually read these, and they are it's like a comic strip, and you've got the 4 strips, 3 panels in each, 2 strips per page, and you've got to have read the Marvel G1 comics to understand what this is all about, because I do vividly remember Lord Straxus from the Marvel G1 comics. He was only in it for a very brief time, but he was he had such an impact on me in the few stories that he did, that I've had a lingering memory of him. And when I got my Generations one, I was over the moon with it, because even though it's not G1 accurate, it is a fantastic figure, and it's a brilliant homage to Straxus. So I was really impressed with that. But yeah, you've got to have read the Marvel G1 comics to understand a lot of the references and goings on in these, and if you have, then it makes sense. You can laugh along to a lot of the nonsense and jokes and things that's going on in this. They're very good. They do get thicker. I mean, the first book's quite thin, but they get steadily thicker. And then you get to the 3rd book, and I will admit it was hard going reading this in a single sitting, and the story continues beyond this. But yeah, it's really interesting, the things they threw into this. Really like it. It's a good laugh. But you've got to have read the Marvel G1 comics to really get the most out of these books. And I bought those, and while I was there on that guy's stall, I also got the Rock and Roll Rock Lords book that they did at TFnation 2 years ago. This was the booklet that Toy Fu sold at TFnation 2016. I didn't get one then. I'd heard rumours that this book was supposed to be really funny, so I wanted to get one. Fortunately, this guy in the Forge was selling, managed to dig up some back issues, and he was selling them, so I managed to get hold of one of those. And he also had this other comic that he'd done, which I looked quite interesting, so I bought it. But I haven't actually had a chance to read these yet, so yeah, they're on my to-do list. Then I went over and had a look at this gal's stall. And while I was there, that was when I got these badges. So I had a look at the badges she had, and I thought, oh, you've got the rescue bots, so let's have the rescue bots, because I quite like rescue bots. It's a pretty cool show. So yeah, I got hold of those, stuck them on my pink tote bag, and then I went over to the next guy, this guy. Went to see him, and I got hold of this, which is the the book from last year. This is last year's fanzine that Toy Fu was doing, the Armada celebration. Was it an official fanzine celebrating 50 years of Armada? Yes, it's really been that long. And it's got all that artwork on it, so I've got hold of this. Again, I haven't actually had a chance to read this. Now, the guy wanted £4 for this, whereas I've got the other ones for like £1. But it's got things sort of blotted out, and it's got some signatures on the front, which I don't know they're from. But if you recognise those signatures, it'd be interesting if people could tell me who they're from. So I got hold of that, and that was pretty much what I did in the forge. I bought some bits, went in there, saw the displays, and quite satisfied that I'd done enough in there. And then me and Damien, because obviously I was hanging around with Damien a lot throughout the convention, we then went for a wander in the dealer hall in the sort of like mid-afternoon on the Sunday, and went over to In Demand, and I got me a Legends RC. I haven't actually got the Generations RC before. I haven't got a previous version of it, so they had the Takara Legends version for about £25, and I thought that's near enough. So yeah, I went and bought her. Damien bought his Legends Twin Twist, Takara Legends Twin Twist. A lot of people was picking up these Takara Legends figures like really cheap. I mean, In Demand had a bunch of them, Kapow had a bunch of them, and lots of people were picking them. So I've been watching other people's videos, and loads of people have been getting these Takara Legends on the cheap. So I did my bit for that, and I got me a Legends RC, and she's pretty decent. Though I will say her heels are very loose. They're very, very loose, and she if you don't lean her forward, she falls over because her heels just give way. But it's a decent little figure. I haven't really got that many RCs, so I've got one now. And then the last figure I bought, wandering around with Damien, went to Beyond Technologies again, having a look on his store, and I noticed he had a G2 Snarl, and I thought, I wonder if he's got a G2 Grimlock. And sure enough, he had a G2 Grimlock. And this was the last figure I bought, TFnation 2018. Kind of ironic, as the convention was based upon a G2 Transformers. So the last bot that I bought, TFnation, was a G2 Transformer. I wanted this guy because I've got Fans Toys G2 Grinder in there that I bought earlier this year, so I wanted the G2 original to go with it, and I got him. He's in pretty good nick. Most of his joints are tight, apart from one slightly janky arm. Decal's decent. He's fairly clean. Came with his gun and his sword. The chrome's not too bad. So yeah, I paid a decent price for him, but I'm quite happy to have got him. And that was that. That was everything that I got TFnation. Now, obviously, like I said, I've shown it all before. Probably shown it and explained it in a little bit more detail. One last thing. Today being the 31st, last day of the month, was a Friday, so I went uptown to Spartown Comics. Sid wasn't there today. Sid wasn't there. Apparently he's needed a bit of a time out, have a bit of a rest from all the comic book and Transformers shenanigans that have been going on lately. So he's having a time out, having a couple of weeks off. And there was some other guy from Comic Connections who was in there, and I don't know, I gave him my name and says, I collect Transformers comics, and I got Bumblebee #3. Again, the Bumblebee, it's based in the 1960s, and you've got these two secret agents that he's hanging out with, and it's got all the 1960s sort of James Bond style shenanigans going on. It's quite interesting. Blitzwing's made an appearance in this, and he transforms from a Harrier jump jet into a Centurion tank. It's like, what? How does that work? But he does. So he's in here. So yeah, I got that, and that was the last thing I bought this month. So yeah, longest video I've ever done, 120 minutes, go figure. Yeah, so 38 items I bought this month. I spent well over £1,000. I took £1,000 of TFnation, but I didn't actually spend all of it. I came back with 70 quid in my pocket. That money is going to go towards some events that I'll be doing next month. There's the Country Comic Con on Saturday the 15th of September, and on Sunday the 30th of September there's another NEC Toy Fair. So I've got those to look forward to next month. And this time last year I was gearing up for the bot stop, but I'm not going to be doing that again. So things as business as usual. Come tomorrow morning, there's a couple of KTRT bots I want to place some orders on, and business as usual. Things just buying stuff. Speaking of buying stuff, something else I bought. I bought this for my Ultra Magnus restoration. So when I finished it, I'm going to be displaying it on this. It's one of those little electric turntable things. I mean, so yeah, it's a little rotating turntable, and it goes the other way as well. It's got 2 speeds. It's got a little phone pad. The table's a little wobbly, but yeah, I bought that. It's only about 20 quid. It's only a cheap and nasty one. It's battery powered. So I bought a little display turntable. That arrived the other day as well. So yeah, August 2018, my haul video. You've just seen it. Everything I got this month. Question is, I do this thing. First and worst. Now, what do you think? Hang on. What do you think is my first and worst? Because that's something I've been doing in my haul videos this year. Right. So, first, Masterpiece Sunstreaker had to be Bot 900. Yeah. Worst, Lucybot. Because I'm so disappointed by her. She could have been so much more, but it's nah. As KTRT goes, this thing is wanting. But yeah, Masterpiece Sunstreaker is, in my opinion, the best thing I've got this month. As for top 3 purchase, the best things I bought TFnation, definitely hit this guy. This guy, again, I really like Fire Extinguisher. He's awesome little dude. I'm not sure if there's anything else that I particularly liked that I bought at TFnation. So I'd say the best things that I bought was these 2 guys. As for the rest of it, it's all sort of even Stevens. But yeah, so that's it. That's my haul for this month. It all starts again tomorrow. I've been